بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمد ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we are now on the 19th part of spiritual discourses, and our attention is focused on pride, because according to many ulama ikram who are experts on the science of diseases of the heart, the mashayikh and the ahl tasawwuf, they say that from all the bad qualities, pride is the worst. And that is why we are focused on this pride and what is linked to it. Nabi Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has stated, he who has got in his mind pride to the weight of a mustard seed would not enter Jannah. And he who has got in his mind Iman to the weight of a mustard seed would not enter Jahannam. Nabi Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has also said, Allah will throw Jahannam over the face of one whose mind there is slightest pride. Mind meaning heart. Once Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam addressed the birds, beasts, animals and men, and he told them, Imam Ghazali Rahmatullah alayhi narrates this, go out in procession. 200,000 men and 200,000 beasts joined the procession. The wind was taking them upwards. He rose to such a height that he heard the sound of tasbih, the praising of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the malaika in the samawat, in the skies. Then he got down to the bottom of the sea. Then he heard advice from the heavens. What was that? If the least sign of pride was found within the heart of your friend Suleiman, he would have been destroyed in the bottom of the sea before he even rose to the sky. Here we can see what Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is saying. That, as we have quoted this hadith previously, that if a person has got a mustard seed, according to some they translate it as barley seed, meaning a small grain. Hey, mustard seed, barley seed, a grain of rice, that amount. If you got that amount of pride in the heart, that person will not enter Jannah. And on the other hand, if a person has got that amount of Iman, then that person will not enter Jahannam. And Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is saying clearly here that Allah will throw Jahannam over the face of those whose mind there is slightest pride. And here the story of Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam is narrated that when he gathered the birds and the beasts and the animals and men, and there were 200,000 of men and 200,000 of beasts who went into this procession. And then when he rose, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam the control over the winds. So when they rose to the sky, they heard the praising of the malaika. Then went to the bottom of the ocean. And the malaika, when he was on the heavens, said if he had any amount of pride, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have destroyed them. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him that quality, that boons and favor. What is here being told to us here? That any quality we got, we should regard it as a boon and a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And man generally, he will boast because of his quality, which is God. So we should be extremely careful, because this is a question of Jannat and Jahannam here. So severe is the test, and so severe And so significant is the result that pride, Jahannam, mustard seed of Iman, Jannat. So can you imagine the severity of punishment? We are not focusing on this mere fact that just by pride we are going to lose Jannat but go into Jahannam. And see Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam, the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no pride. And his kingdom was so vast, but no pride. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him such a vast kingdom, but no pride, no arrogance. But if you look at the kings and the rulers and those who got little bit power these days, how much of pride and arrogance. That is why most of the nations, they are destroyed, because when a man gets power, he becomes haughty, he becomes proud, and then the nation suffers. You will find around the entire world currently at the moment, war. And then governments going up, down. This party comes, that party goes. And when one party comes, that party begins to steal. Then when the other party comes, that party begins to steal. Why? Because when power comes and then arrogance comes, a person becomes proud, then all this happens. You will find that these wars also, just like at the times of the Ayyam Jahiliyyah, that when Nabi Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came and the Aws and the Khazraj were fighting, and they were fighting because of the chip on the shoulder. And if you look at it, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Jahannam is destined for the person who is proud? Because over a simple thing, that while they were racing their horses, then one horse went ahead, they suspected foul play, war started. Why? Because of pride. Pride, my horse never win. And how come your horse won? In this competition, why I lost? So my pride was destroyed. And those who won displayed their pride. Pride on one side being lost, so-called, and one side, because of victory, pride went up. Result, 40 years of war. 40 years of war, not kissing and shaking hands with each other, not embracing each other, not inviting each other for some meal. No, throwing arrows at each other, throwing spears at each other, flashing swords at each other, killing each other, plotting against each other. That same very concept exists today amongst tribes, sects, amongst people, amongst countries, amongst provinces. You will find that person is fighting for Gam, he's fighting for village, he's fighting and taking side in a matter because he feels that these are my people. And my people, once a word comes in then it denotes pride. So no justice, no fair play, nothing. Because my people, my village, my tribe, my nation, my country, then the fight is on. Then the lying is on. Then deception is on. What happens generally, it is not very difficult to understand this international politics. Because the small politics, when it is magnified, it becomes the international politics. Just like you have small politics in the families, when it is magnified, you see exactly the same thing happening in the parliaments. Party siding party, not because of truthfulness, or honesty, or justice, or fair play, but they just support because it's my party. So if there is a law concerning to legalize gay marriages, to legalize same-sex marriages, to legalize abortion, to legalize some illegal activity, nudity, nudity, and pornography, then that party that says yes, we should have it, the members of that party, whether they understand it or not, or recognize it or not, but because it is their party and because it is my party, pride, arrogance, I will support it. So that member actually what he is citing, that he is citing nude beaches, nudity, pornography, abortion, gay marriages, same-sex marriages. Why? Because it is his party. Out of pride now, he will support his party. So that the other party, which is saying the truth, which is calling for justice, which is calling for morality, which is calling for modesty, which is calling that we should put things in perspective and we should not destroy the moral fiber of humanity and society, that party will not be supported. And the majority party that's calling for illegal and abuse, all that will be supported. Why? Because of pride. And that's why the hadith is so severe. A man may think that why the hadith is so severe? That Nabi Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is saying that if a person got a mustard seed, grain of pride in the heart, then he will not go to Jannah. Meaning that he's going the other way, going to Jannah. Why? Look at it. Why nations are fighting nations? Why the war is going on everywhere? When you look, there you'll find there too quality of pride. And the quality of pride exists just like it can exist with the Muslims. It exists more with the quality of those people like Firaun and Haman, Shaddad and his party, Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab and their group. So the Quran is talking about these people as a lesson and deterrent to us. That all these narrations in the Quran, all these narratives in the Quran and incidents in the Quran, they are not there just to read and bypass. There is no story time. It is to take out lessons there. Because those people, they had arrogance and pride, self-praise in them. That's why they were going to war. And that is why when Nabi Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to make brotherhood and to bring peace and harmony amongst the tribes, then when he came, he removed this quality of pride and arrogance, tribalism, nationalism amongst them. And when they understood this and Iman came into their hearts, Iman shone forth in their hearts, that is why they became the rulers of the world. And when they became the rulers of the world, pride and arrogance was not there. Once Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he was the governor of Bahrain, then someone had given him to utilize a handkerchief. And that handkerchief, according to one narration, had little bit silk qualities in it. But most of the narration says that it was very soft and tender. When he began to see it and wanted to use it, he began to cry and say that perhaps we have been rewarded in this world for what we suffered in the initial stages. And then he discarded it, meaning that he did not want to touch this world and its comfort and its ease and luxury. Why? Quality of pride must not come in them. And that is why it is stated that most of the Ashab al-Sufa, they were poor and they wore coarse clothing. Most of the Sahaba Ikram radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajmeen had extremely simple clothing because they did not want to get involved in the fineries of the world. May Allah Ta'ala grant us ability to understand the world and stay away from pride and arrogance. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.